is all right tonight. This is Soapbox After Dark. I can't sleep, and so I figured let's do the news. Might as well put this time to productive use. So let's hop across the pond. I want to talk about Brexit. I haven't talked about Brexit for a while. They are currently at this moment on hiatus, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the news has stopped. In fact, it hasn't stopped. It's gotten slightly more weird and slightly more interesting. So Theresa May clings to power. I don't know how. The woman has a certain grim determination that you have to kind of respect, but she clings to power nonetheless. But she has a problem. Her plan can't get over the finish line. On the break, Theresa May has started cross-party talks with Jeremy Corbyn because she realizes at this point that she can't get her plan over the finish line. Now, in having these cross-party talks with Jeremy Corbyn, it hasn't risen to the level of Corbyn and May yet, but the politics of it is that May is trying to somehow work cross-party lines, being this uber statesman. Mind you, that the reason she's now being this uber statesman after 3 years was because she can't get her plan over the finish line. It's not because she's an uber statesman, it's because she's utterly and entirely desperate. And this is the last card that she's going to play. And I would make the case it's not the last card, because this card isn't going to go anywhere at all. Her party resents this tremendously. What are you doing letting the leader of the opposition to this? What are you talking about? A customs union? What are you talking about? And fact of the matter is, she hasn't really necessarily put on the table what compromise she's talking about. But just the very notion that she's talking about compromise with Jeremy Corbyn has inflamed the BREXITEERs and the hardliners of her ranks. They are once again trying to get Theresa May to leave. And they're doing this by trying to pressure Theresa May to at the very least give her a date on which she's planning on step down, but to try to step down before June. Another thing that has inflamed the BREXITEERs is that they have to stand for European elections. As you know, Theresa May and Britain went with hat in hand to the European Union once again, begging them for another extension. For a country that used to be masters of the universe, you can imagine this was somewhat of a hard pill to swallow. It looked bad. It was dispiriting. Let's to use a term. It was utterly and entirely dispiriting for a country that used to be master of the universe to have to go with hat in hand to beg the European Union for an extension. They're not masters of their own fate. They have to stand for the European elections. Now, they've pushed the date all the way back, I think October the 31st is the date now that they're supposedly planning on leaving the European Union. This has a certain effect. The fact that they have to stand for European elections, and the fact that it looks like they're trying to snuff Brexit out entirely, enraged the BREXITEERs. Nigel Farage, the colorful character of Nigel Farage, comes out of retirement and starts the BREXITEER party. The BREXITEER party immediately take votes away from UKIP, the original party that Nigel Farage started, and sucks away support from the Conservative Party. It freaks out the people who were in the party that were somewhat wavering on this idea of Theresa May's deal. Freaks them out. Makes them more hardline against any passage or any chance of Theresa May's deal passing. This deal went from not having a chance to pass to damn sure not having a chance to pass. So I asked the basic question. Why on earth is Theresa May still sticking around? Varoufakis, when asked about this deal, said that this is a deal that a country only accepts in surrender. Think about what he's saying. He said this is an utter capitulation. That this is a deal that a country only accepts in surrender. That's the deal that Theresa May has crafted with the European Union. And this is part of the reason that all of these people are against it. Why on earth is Theresa May still here? And I think some people push this thing just to basic stubbornness. The fact that everybody wants her to go, she doesn't want to go because of it. How dare you try to say, I'm going to leave? You're not kicking me around. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I respect the stubbornness. But if you're going to be a statesman, why are you still here? You've spent 3 years crafting a deal that not only can't get over the finish line, but was voted down in historic margins. And your biggest idea was to just keep bringing the deal back and then go and bitch to the British public that they wouldn't support your deal. As if they were supposedly forced or supposedly, somehow commissioned to support your deal. Theresa May, if she wants to be a statesman, needs to call for a snap election. I understand that calling for a snap election means the obliteration of the Tory party. I accept that. And yes, I accept that because I don't particularly like the Tory party. But shouldn't you give the public a choice and put a real Brexiteer in that office in order to try to do this job? And by a real Brexiteer, I don't mean Boris Johnson. I don't mean Rees-Mogg. I mean one Mr. Jeremy Corbyn. And you may say, how on earth do you believe Jeremy Corbyn is a Brexiteer? If you look back at Jeremy Corbyn's history, Jeremy Corbyn, just like George Galloway, studied under Tony Benn. When Mr. Tony Benn was original Brexiteer. They were Brexiteers. They were Eurosceptics before Eurosceptics became in vogue. I'm trying to get this across. Jeremy Corbyn may be forced to take on certain positions for political considerations, kind of like Bernie Sanders taking on this whole thing of Russiagate because of political wins. It's easier sometimes to accept the political wins as opposed to fight against them, especially if you want to get other things accomplished. I don't want to die on this hill when I have all this other stuff that I want to talk about. But it doesn't necessarily mean that if you ask him at 3 a.m. and it's just between him and his God, what do you believe in, that it wouldn't be, to some degree, a Eurosceptic. Call a snap election. The country decided it wanted to leave the European Union. Let somebody who has an interest in leaving the European Union run the process. There's another point to this that can't be understated. For Jeremy Corbyn cannot enact what he wants to do in the European Union. Understand what that means. That the Labour leader cannot elect, meaning if he got elected and he tried to put through his economic plans, that the European Union, it would run afoul of the European Union. So he has every interest in the world, meaning from the standpoint of trying to enact his political will, to pull Britain out of the European Union, at least to the degree to which he can enact his policies. Snap election. Let the voters get an opportunity to effect their political will and give it to somebody who actually has some interest in taking Britain out of the European Union. And I understand that he's doing the customs union and all this other stuff. But at the very least, let the voters get a choice. As opposed to having a prime minister continuously bring back a plan over and over and over again that A, the voters don't want, Parliament doesn't want, and regardless, can't get over the finish line in Parliament. Give it to the voters. It's time for a new look at Brexit. I'll end this here. I didn't want this one to be long. And 8 minutes is perfect. Thanks all. I'll see you in a few. Bye-bye.